I live for in Siege. It's something I've done a lot of work in the UK leagues, as a lot of people probably know, and it is something that I have seen over the course of those UK seasons was there being one big shark in the pond, and then seeing other teams like what they originally started as M&M, they are now Navi, seeing teams like that come through and develop because they are playing bigger, better teams. And so for Furia and W7M to make such an adjustment from stage 1 to stage 2, I'm desperate to see that continue and to see us have the development of 2 more big teams here in LATAM. And I love to see it. And so for me, this is the best showdown of the day.
Oh, Tim, it's going to be an absolutely massive matchup. 2 teams of huge stature that are going up against one another here. Obviously, we've got the ban phase coming through as well, and then we'll be getting into it. Furia on attack, W7M on defense. Thatcher, Monty, and Echo have been thrown out of the ringer so far. We'll get that last ban in, see if there is going to be any spice. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about removing Ace and Malusi, but again, Tim, it looks like they want to swing straight past that and keep them in active play.
Certainly don't want the shields on the board today. That much we do know. We have 1 taken away by each team, but it will be Monty and Clash that bite the dust, and we won't be seeing any of them on Oregon. Always powerful sort of disruption operators. If you remember last season, Jackie, we saw Clash use to great effect on Oregon a couple of times, really shutting down pushers and making it very difficult for teams to get both into dorms and into the laundry site. So not too much of a surprise to see them go in. Clash also used, I think, on Thursday, quite a lot to close down Freezer as well. The bottom of Freezer stairs there, very difficult area again to move that operator out of. So she's gone by the wayside, and we're going to be heading into round 1 now. We've got W7M on the defense, and it will be Laundry and Dorms. Sorry, not Laundry and Dorms. We can't have 2 sites at once, Jackie. It's going to be Kids Dorms and Main Dorms to begin with.
Oh, mate. Rightio. Well, here we go. Straight from the tippy top, I'm expecting this one to get relatively explosive quite quickly. For W7M, though, I'm curious to see from the main man, Panico, what he is going to get up to. Early on the Valkyrie, will we see that level of aggression coming out from them? Last time around, obviously in the previous playday, it felt like they were willing to take a couple more risks. They were willing to go for those confident wide swings. And if they utilize that into an opening round like this against Furia, if they don't expect it, it could really rub them up the wrong way immediately.
Could be a good choice here from W7M starting out in dorms. So we've seen Furia play on Oregon once. They did, of course, get the win, but it was 7-5. They were stretched to all 12 rounds in both games. We saw all 24 across those 2 maps. But that said, here on Oregon, on the attack, they were unsuccessful when attacking dorms. They have a 0 win percentage. Now, the numbers aren't particularly big, so I won't put too much stock in them just yet. But the point remains, it was the site that they failed to get a win on. So W7M, they could well be aware of that and just coming in there, trying to find any small advantage that they can to begin with and pushing Furia to a site that maybe they're uncomfortable with and just get that first round on the board.
Just take it bit by bit. Easy pickings. Make use of the fact, of course, you do have the ace in play as well, so it's so easy to rip down those reinforced walls. They've still got 2 minutes on the clock as well. Finally, we see a little bit of play coming out with the Valkyrie cams that were dashed out, but they're not going to help too much. No one over by the school bus. They're not going to be late. They were perfectly on time, and they have already arrived inside of the compound. Herds, he was hoping he could use this to advantage, to go out for a wide swing, potentially that first pick on the board with a bit of a backstab, but at most it's going to be information he'll gather from this. Unless there is that potential chance, actually. Lender, he could leave himself exposed if we saw something too crazy here, Tim.
A lot of parallels here between Herds and some of the players that I just showed you in Unranked a couple about an hour ago, Jackie. Same result. Herds comes out and gets a big opener onto Lender, and Padrin will follow that up with one onto, I believe it was Fred who went by the wayside. That's the IQ off the board. So we find ourselves now 4 versus 3. Herds was punished for that run out, but that's what you want your Jaeger to do. The ADSs are down. He's gone out. He's got himself that opener. An important opener as well onto Maverick. That's one of the sort of half-hard breaches that is gone as well. So they are now limited to Bursa only on the ace. So good first pick there for Herds to start things off. Nice and aggressive for W7M.
No, it's lovely. And this is just what I was talking about as well. If you're going to bring that Valkyrie, make full use of her cameras. Sending out the Jaeger is a smart choice to make. He makes quick work of them. You've now got a 2-for-1 essentially into the round, and you leave Furia with not a lot of time left to try and claw this back in the battle of attrition. They have 30 seconds. Highs. Oh, he thought he could walk right up, but instead Pedrin decides to take the peak towards him. Wide swings with confidence, knocks his block clean off, and you've got 2 players remaining. Novice and Bursa in quite a sticky predicament. With 15 seconds, Tim, the likelihood of winning this round is very slim.
It's certainly starting to pass them by. 4 on sides, especially in dorms. Very, very difficult to push into. As Bursa finds out with Panico shutting him down, it's all up to Novice. Caught in the reload, shut down by Gui. And that is going to be round number 1, going to W7M. And some very nice early round aggression there. Just wanting to bring the fight to Furia, let them know they're in for a game. And as I say, the stats back that up, and I'm sure that that is what Alpha has been telling them prior to this. On the defense of Oregon, let's get them onto kids' dorms. They didn't have the best attack on there. Get up in their faces, really punish them. We've got a great replay there. Look at the nice zoom in there. I do love the work that production do with these replays. Show us all that detail there. And look at that. Every shot landing and just completely shuts down Lender. Now, that opening kill was actually more important than it appeared as well, Jackie, because Lender, as I said earlier, on the entry on Thursday went 5-2. He was very difficult to challenge in those opening battles. So for Herds to get out there and get a free kill onto him, that takes a real threat off the board before he can do any damage. And that was very, very nicely played by the Jaeger.
No, that was smooth. It was well timed, beautifully executed, hits his shots when he needs to, and really does come in clutch for the side of W7M. I spoke about aggression. I felt like they were certainly the team to wield that confidence at the right times, and they did so. For Furia, though, it's just a matter of, can you bounce back into it? Obviously, what did we have over the course of 2 rounds on Consulate? On their first debut into Playday 1, Novice and Lender popped off. I think Novice had 7 frags to 2 deaths in the first 2 rounds. It was pretty wild. At least they haven't been able to pop off as much as they did then. They've certainly been slowed down a little bit, but is that going to be sustainable? Can you keep them in the mud the entire time, or will they be able to shake it off and get back in with some high tempo of their own? Fred seems to be taking that style of approach, duoing up over with Novice on the Ash to look for map control very early on.
I'm sure that Furia are going to be a lot more aware of those potential windows and jump outs this time around. Now, given that we are down in the laundry site, we won't expect to see too many of those defenders playing up here on the mid or top floors. They will usually largely turtle up downstairs. And the reason for that, the reason we don't tend to get a big heavy roam presence for this laundry site is because there are so many ways to attack it. If you are stuck with only 2 or 3 defenders in sight, very easy to get quickly overwhelmed. We've got the freezer stairs, we've got the laundry stairs, we've got the bunker, we've got the rear stage stairs. You can basically be attacked from any which way. So to hold them all down is tough. So generally speaking, we see maybe 1 out on the roam at a push, sometimes 2, but 1 will usually fall very quickly back to sight. Now, Novice felt very quickly on top of Freeze out there with a beautiful headshot round the corner. And it's interesting that he gets the headshot, Jackie. It's worth pointing out that Novice had, I think it was about a 73% headshot rate last time around on Thursday, and that was across 22 kills that he got 3/4 of them with headshots. That is seriously impressive.
That's sick. That is genuinely sickeningly good. That's a high headshot percentage, especially when you think about a lot of the fights he was taking were relatively fast entry frags as well, so you don't really have too much time to watch your aim. Issue is, they get the opening pick, but unfortunately for Highs, he's dropped out. He's run into some kind of technical issue, but we're already quite late into the round, so this one will be played out. And it seems like they're getting gunned out. We've only got 2 players up now for Furia. Bursa and Lender trapped into a bit of an awkward spot. Potentially, it seems like this could be an issue that is plaguing everyone across the server. Actually, no, it was just a very slow move.
He was just really still.
Mate, gosh, I thought it had gone down. I was like, has it all gone wrong? But no, it's just gone wrong for Furia. 40 seconds, Tim. Lender, the only one left. You're on the Maverick. Maybe a well-timed naked. Net him another frag. Not like that, though. Oh, Lender. Someone lend him a hand. He's killed himself.
I'm not going to make it too easy an excuse for Furia there, but saying what I see, it seemed like Highs dropping out of the game just seemed to sap some energy out of Furia there. It just seemed to take some focus away. He's got himself back in now, so we won't need the rehost. But I don't know if you sort of felt the same about that, Jackie.
Yeah.
They got that opening kill with Novice, and it was a beauty on the freezer stairs, just stepping in there and getting that yet another headshot for Novice. Highs drops out, and it just seemed to really suck the energy out of the round for them. And it was perfectly timed aggression from Herds. It's as if he felt that. He felt that sort of that dip in energy from Furia, and he stepped up from the pillars area, got an important double for W7M, and really propelled them through the round. And the thing is, you know, W7M don't want to win rounds because players drop out. No team wants to win rounds because of that. But ultimately, it's a competitive esport. They're here to win rounds, and you fight what's in front of you. It's not down to them. At the end of the day, if that impacts on the Furia energy, let's take advantage of that situation and get in there and just pile on, put fuel on the fire. And that's exactly what they did there. So well played, W7M.
Oh, yeah. It is rough, though, right? Because I completely, wholeheartedly agree with you in that sense. You get the first pick, it felt like everything was starting to go back into their favor. Then you could see them actively just slow down and not continue back off that confidence. They really did take a bit of a heavy hit in terms of their mentality. At least they've got him back in. The one thing this has reminded me of, though, Tim, and I can't remember if it was Highs, but I believe last season we had a bit of a chat with Fury, and I think they did say Highs and Bursters PCs for some reason would randomly encounter these issues, because I remember it happening a couple of times throughout last season. Hopefully this isn't still going to be a recurring issue, because they look like such a solid squad, and if they're going to have something like that slowing them down into games, that's such a shame.
Well, this is the question to ask. You know, I'm not trying to do any tech support for them, but the question you've got to follow that up with, is it connection issues or is it computer issues? You know? And at the end of the day, where you're playing in a very top tier league, and I'm sure these teams, if we were talking about computer issues, there'd be a new computer in place. That's, you know, generally what you would expect. If it was just happening for sort of unknown reasons, it'd be one of my first thoughts would be, right, let's not mess about with it. You know, I'm sure they've got other machines there that the coaches use and things like that. So, you know, let's make sure that that's not an issue. So, as you say, Jackie, fingers crossed that it's not going to be the case and it is a one-off for them. Now, Lender goes in, once again, getting things started with that opening kill. Will take Panico out, but is traded out. No, it's not Lender who gets killed. He loses a lot of health there, but Highs will be taken down on the backside of it. But meanwhile, that diffuser's gone down very quickly in Kitchen, and that is a big coup there from Furia, managing to get in on this site without any more kills than they had and getting the diffuser down. Big play.
Huge start, but they need an even bigger finish. There is another frag being found, though. Novice on the rotation cuts off the roam of Herds, and all of a sudden it's down to one man. The Wamai! Oh, he gets the 2K spray down through the wood, beheading both Fred and Bursa. But that one moment of fireworks isn't enough to keep him in the round. Luckily, Novice, the clutch man himself, reigning supreme at the end there on the Ash, as he will burn up their hopes and dreams and secure an initial round now for the attacking side of Furia. That's also huge because it means they haven't taken a knock mentally. The tempo hasn't slowed down. If anything, they've gone from 10 to 11 on the speedometer.
I love to see that from Furia. It was something that we saw was characteristic of them last time around, getting that diffuser down, playing the objective, and they, for me, really are the objective team here in LATAM. And I like to see it because, you know, we've got to remember that Siege is a game about getting kills. Of course it is. You kill the other team, you win. Simple as that. But there is, of course, these alternative methods to win as well. And one of those primary focuses has got to be the objective. It doesn't matter who kills what. If that diffuser goes down on the ground, the whole round gets flipped on its head. And those defenders effectively become attackers. They have to push back onto that site and quite often play into the utility that they have positioned themselves to try and help defend the site. So the attackers at that point just become more and more powerful, and that's exactly what Furia took advantage of there. In nice and quickly, diffuser on the ground, back to playing the objective. Let's not play into the W7M gunfights. Let's just get control of site. That's what we did well on Thursday night. That's what we've done well in round 3, and that is what works for Furia.
You got to stick to your guns, man. Like, genuinely, playing that style of Siege is 100% has always been what works best for them. And the fact we're starting to see them fall back into that now, and they're keeping that strong mental fortitude that has been quite a big telltale sign of this team, That's good. We are into round 4, though. It's a 2-1 split. The game is very close at this point. There's a possibility that this could have been Furia that was on top as well, that we didn't run into the rehost. So, hopefully, this means they will just maintain this solid pace and try and keep up with it. Grouped up for now, obviously, you've got the Maverick in play. You've also got the Ace of Bursa. So they're going to have no issues whatsoever tearing down these hard breaches when they want to execute onto them. Issue is, oh, it seems like the hard spot on Bursa's skull has been cracked clean open there, as a frag will be found for Herds shooting his way through the window. He's also got the benefit of having a dock on the team that will heal him back up, Tim, but the same can't be said for Ace, who's now laid out in a coffin.
What an entry from Herds. Absolute beauty there. You've always got to be careful of those windows on both sides of the small tower. If you're playing in and around that attic breach, you've got one that looks onto Armory and you've got one that looks onto Kidstorm's windows. And people love to take a peek across them. Now, Valkyrie, however, he will be shut down by Fred as he tries to take a little jump out there. I think he had some information that was being fed in from one of those black eye cameras, but well alive to it, manages to get him shut down as Fred, and that will be leveling things up now for all. And we've lost Panico along the way as well, absolutely removed from the round there. So 2-1 and looking pretty good for Furious so far. Good progress. Access to Attic has been gained, pushing into Armory side as well. So far so good, but Guy fighting hard with a kill onto Lender.
3 versus 4. Novice. The slight adjustment there, as the bullets will barely whiz by, essentially offering out free haircuts but not securing him kills. Luckily, Panico does get back in time as well, so there won't be the possibility of a rehost going on, but will it help them in this round? It is a 4 versus 3. They do have the advantage, and time is starting to tick down as well, close towards the 30-second mark now. W7M, just keep your level heads. Don't go for an overextension. Don't go for anything too crazy. As long as they hold towards the site, Tim, play the crossfires, they can win this purely off the trade game.
They can, you know, it's fair to say when you're playing against Fury that they are going to be looking to get site control and get the diffuser down. They're not often looking to come in and just primarily focus on those frags. Now, they will lose one man as they push forward. Herds it is once again. He's having a great game so far. Freezow joins the party with a kill onto Novice. Highs it is to trade out Herds, but he finds himself all alone in a 1 versus 3. Low health, gets the pistol and the first with a headshot. 1 versus 2, but time ticks down. Nothing he can do. Impactless kills, and that's going to be another round to W7M. They get themselves 3-1 on the board, but with them being on the defense, I don't think Furia are going to be panicking too much just yet. If they can get 2 successful attacks here, I'm sure that they will happily move into the second half.
They've still got a lot of time, right? Because that's the thing. There might be a big buffer already built up for W7M, but as long as you can get something more, just a couple more rounds maybe, at the very least get yourself a second, you'll be fine. You can play it out. You can try and bring it back on the defense. You're not going to drop the game right then and there. I'm just worried about if that is going to happen. We've seen how slow Furia like to take it on their attack. They're willing to go for those very last-minute executes and get the diffuser down, really what? In like the grace period where they don't have much time. So if they do die, it's all over. And up against a team like W7M that can play angles, can just wait for the push, that's not going to work.
It's not, and the thing is, the longer that W7M can frustrate Furia for, the more joy they're going to get. It's as simple as that. As I said, we know that Furia want to push onto site, it appears. They want to get in and play that objective. They had 4 plants across 3 different players on Thursday. That is generally, you know, the way they're looking for. And yes, slow, methodical, and steady does seem to have been characteristic of their pushes so far. And so W7M, they're just steering into that. They're just leaning right into it and just letting Furia take the time. And then ultimately, when they get to a point, they get to that roadblock and they think, it's now or never. We've got to do something. We've got to push forward. They're pushing into the guns of people like Herds, who just sits there holding an angle on Attic. No problem. Where else is the push going to come from? And so for me, I think Furia, they just need to get a little bit more disruptive on site. They're doing a very good job of getting themselves sort of into position around site, but it's those pushes onto site, the kills onto site to disrupt things, that's just letting them down a little bit.
Okay, well, round 5 it is. Obviously for Furia, you've got your last 2 chances. This is one of them. Make them count and get a big opening frag here. From a player like Novice on the Ash, that would be sick if he can maintain this. He's been hitting heads, he's been popping heads. Can he clean house into round 5? First contact should be coming relatively soon if he does push it. Be a risk to run as well, especially if he does try and chance this. There's the close contacts there. 2 players lurking just round the corner, but he doesn't overextend. He has been fast, but he won't be overly furious, at least here into round 5. Fred, though, watching through the small crack in the barricade, sees the roam, but can't actually do too much about it.
Just looking to make his way into bunker there, but Freezy, once again, W7M, they are happy to just hold themselves back. He's going to play in behind that Goyo shield. We're going to have the first coming together. Herds looks alive and gets the headshot onto Novice this time around. Puts down the Furia man, and we find ourselves 5 versus 4, and that for me is... It's really sort of like the Achilles heel for Furia. If you can waste a minute and a half of the round and then take the opening kill onto them and leave them 5 versus 4, I think that Furia are a side that will find this very, very difficult to win from here. They do well when they are on top of rounds, but when short of time and short of manpower, it's not something that we've seen from them sort of repeatedly being able to get in and win those difficult rounds.
55 seconds on the clock, Herds. Bobbing and weaving from behind the shield, looking to try and basically be a human shield to defend them on the entry here. Not looking too great so far. Obviously, you're already down a man for Furia. And a little bit of a struggle. They've got vertical control at least, so when they do go for the execution, they've got a few different avenues of attack to try and play around, but they have to make them count. 30 seconds left. Rome coming around back towards the stage. That gives you another man that can drop down through the hatch as well. Fred. Distraction play potentially here, or maybe a frag if he can adjust his crosshair in time. Highs comes out with the opening kill, wants to panic up, but there's the pick back. Herds doing damage right now, and he goes Super Saiyan, cleaning up with 2. The third and final frag will be found onto Highs as well. Padron in the meantime slays out on Fred. Fred, the bread's been cut in half. The Baguette man will not be banished today, Tim. As W7M, they've got themselves into a great position now, racking up round after round. They've got a huge buffer, 4 rounds in the bag already.
It feels like they've, they've really sussed out Furia here in the VOD reviews and the research they've done. They seem to have really got their number, W7M. And for me, Jackie, a big characteristic of this W7M defense is a lack of a roam game. Playing very little away from site. You know, most of the kills are coming on and around site, and basically they're giving Furia the freedom of a lot of the map and just making it very difficult for them to take that final piece of the jigsaw that they need, which is that site control and that access to a plant spot. And Furia are struggling. They are not being able to take those gunfights. Novice, Lender, we saw them great on the entry. We saw them going in and taking those early fights on roamers, clearing them out. And then Furia, as I said, a team that do very well pushing towards site, 5 versus 3, for example. They will take advantage of the holes that creates. And that's where we saw those plants going down. The site I'm thinking back to particularly, if you remember Archives and Tellers that they attacked onto, Jackie, on Consulate. Fred just got in quickly into Archives, got the diffuser down after about a minute and a half, and it was because they were 5 versus 3. The holes opened up, they took advantage of it, the lane was there, and they just shot themselves down it. Now, that's not something that W7M are allowing them to do, and the way that they're not allowing them to do it is they're not playing heavily on the roam. So even when they come to that lane ready to aggress into site, they're still up against 5 men and they're struggling.
Man, it's so rough. But those sort of rounds aren't sustainable as well. If you're having to fight so hard into the last few seconds of a round, you're not going to get it. You're not going to pick it up. You're not going to build yourself a lead. It's scary. It's also hard to even say that, you know, there's been mistakes since this game and there's been unfortunate rounds because of the dropouts, because both teams have suffered dropouts as well. So at the end of the day, you can't really use that as any sort of an excuse. But the bullets that are coming out from Herds will excuse Novice in this round, brushing away the Ash. And again, it's an opening frag for W7M. They are gunning for a 5th round here on their defense, Tim. And with the way it's going, it looks likely, especially as there'll be a follow-up beautifully pre-placed there. The Rook has just checkmated his way through once again. As Fred's dead, you've got a 3 versus 5 with 2 minutes to go. What are you even going to do here, Furia?
I think it's very worth mentioning at this point, if anybody hasn't noticed this, we are 6 rounds in, effectively 5.5 rounds in, and Herds is on 13 kills. He is absolutely going off here. He really is the oligarch of Oregon. He is in charge. He owns this map, and he is bang on top of it. And right now, there is absolutely nothing that Furia can do to stop this man. He's holding angles. He's jumping out. He's taking challenges, long range, short range, every which way. He doesn't mind. He will take you on. And more often than not, he's winning them fights. And Furia, again, just looking a little bit lost here, playing into this game of W7M. Herds it is. Who else to come in and get the kill onto Lender? And that now leaves us 5 versus 2 with just over a minute to go.
Ooh, Bursa. At this point, the man's barely even breathing. He's walking around with half of his leg blown off. His legs are nearly gone, Tim, but he's somehow going to have the saving grace to avoid the bullets ricocheting their way through the wood, but it won't matter, as would you look at that, W7M, they win another round. Ridiculously clean. We were hyping this game up because it should have been the clash of two underdogs that have both proven how damn good they can be at Siege. But coming into it, all this has been for me, Tim, is the W7M fireworks show. And the man that's setting them all off, who's being a bit of a wicked fire starter, it's Herds. He genuinely is a prodigy.
Oh, light touch paper and stand well back at the minute. That's all his team need to do, Jackie. They're just going in there, you know, with the little sticks. What are they called? What
firelighters? Are they firelighters?
No.
Sparklers?
Oh, no, it's just like a little taper, the little taper. You go in there and it just sort of burns low the whole time that you're having your little fireworks show, and you just go in and you touch the fuse with it and boof, it sets it off. And right now, that's all his team needs. That's all that Herds is looking for. It's just that sort of touch, that spark, and off he goes. 15-4, and he's going on to the Ash. He could be an absolute menace here against Furia on the attack.
For a second there, I thought you meant a tapir, and I was going to say, what you mean
No, that's weird, an animal, Jackie.
Yeah, the weird-looking pig-elephant animal that roams around.
So I went. There's actually quite a few different types of tapir, Jackie, you know, as well. There's not just the one. Yeah,
it's interesting as well, because obviously a common misconception, one I've also just played a part in there, is people think that they're related to pigs, but they just have trunks, but they're not. They're actually closer related to horses and rhinoceroses.
There you go. There you have it. Always bringing the animal knowledge, always hitting us hard with those animal facts, Jackie. I'm here for it. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you someone else that's been hitting hard, though. The entire team of Furia, Tim. At least now, here's your blessing. You've been popped onto the defense. Flex your muscles a little bit. We've seen it from them in the past. We know they are effectively a squad of 5 human sentry guns that will hold angles like no one else. But can you hold angles against W7M that can now play with the aggression? Because Herds, he was pretty much playing attack on defense anyway. Now you've given him the Ash. When he's got that free speed, let's see what he does with it.
Fred's going to be a key member of this defense now. We know how unpredictable he can be. They need more than ever for Fred to just start popping up left, right, and centre and picking up some kills and really making W7M guess. If Furia are to lose this opening attack, it would be big for them now. Novice comes out. Step 1 complete. Opening kill onto Guy. Guy's been a little bit quiet so far. He's had a reasonable game, but not necessarily to the same sort of level that we might normally expect. So still a good shutdown for Novice to begin things. He has taken a lot of damage in that fight, though. He finds himself only one shot away from meeting his maker right now. So he's going to have to dip back to site and just be a gun on an angle at this point. He can't continue roaming. So that's going to leave that game pretty much down to Fred. Now, I'm interested to see what Bursa's doing. Obviously, he will have a nitro in hand on the Goyo. Is he looking to play in underneath? And that's an absolute freebie. They're just taking my kills from unranked here, Jackie. That was another one that I got.
This is crazy. It feels like deja vu. I've already seen these frags once today, and now they're deciding to do it, but in a completely different environment. Not just in ranked, in professional play, in the highest tier of competition here in LATAM, and they are making it look easy. The only L's we're seeing for Furia are big L's into these rounds. Novice, he's lucky to be alive. He's close to being a ghost at this point, and it seems like Herds wants to be the one to send him there. Straight off to the Shadow Realm as another frag is picked up. G36, see you later. He's sat at 16 kills, and he is not content. He is still hungry for more. Slowly skulks his way out on towards the site. 45 seconds left. Wamai gets whammied straight into the head. Doesn't get the follow up, and he is going to be left dead. 2 versus 3 Tim with 30 seconds. Can they clutch this one? Can Furia get a second round?
This is a lot of pressure for Furia to absorb now. We saw the nade coming in, but how about that Nitro toss? I said earlier, what's Bursa going to do with the Nitro? And that's exactly what he's going to do. Kill onto Frieza. We have Fred just dipping, diving, ducking, weaving, but will be shut down at the top of White Stairs by Padrin. 2 versus 1 now, and we have a quick swing in man advantage. Padrin has the fuser in hand, so he can play the objective here. There is no need for aggression from Panico. He just needs to hold the angle from the top of White Stairs here. He got a peek of him. He knows he's there, but he's not going to make the challenge. He goes to the plant spot instead, switches to pistol. He's going to be pushed through dorms. This could be a very nicely timed pinch from the attackers here. There it comes. Panico it will be to shut down Bursa. Didn't know exactly which side that was going to come from, but W7M, they managed to get the job done there, and it almost looked a little bit unlikely after that Nitro flew out, but they shut down the man at the top of White Stairs, W7M, and that really opened things up for them.
Oh, dude. At one point here, I was sat thinking, all right, if this doesn't get any better, we're probably going to see this end like a 7-2, maybe 7-3. Not a 7-1, surely not. W7M, get rid of any hopes and dreams of Furia coming back into it, because it just feels like even if they get a close round, they're being overwhelmed, and it's all down to Hertz. He needs all of the limelight in the world. He's going to be sat there chuffed to bits looking at his rating on CGG after this game, because the man wants to drop a GG in chat with how he's playing, Tim. He wants this one to end.
Oh, he's heading straight for 20 kills at this point. And the fact that that is within potentially 8 rounds, that is absolutely huge. He's on 17 at the minute. If he gets a good round here, he could finish an 8-round game with 20 kills. That is absolutely ludicrous. There is no other way to describe it. He has gone big exactly when W7M wanted it. What a message they have sent here coming out. But let's remember, the one thing that goes in Furia's favour to a degree is this was W7M's map pick. So we're going to be heading into Coastline. But W7M managed to take a win away from Team 1 on Coastline on Thursday. So I'm sure that they're going to be quite happy to go there. Furia may well have a bit more information to hand about exactly what to expect. But it's going to be a tough one. And I mean, I'm just looking at that last site. I'm thinking over it, Jackie. And if you remember, I commented on that game's window angle earlier. We were discussing it, and I described it as a free kill. If you're going to play in games room, looking towards attic, you've got to have a castle, or you've got to have somebody watching that window, because otherwise it is a free kill if you are not paying attention to it. You don't even need to knock the barricade out. You know roughly where the man is. You can just gun straight through it, and the likelihood is you're going to hit somebody and you're going to get the kill. And that's exactly what Furia have given up there. And so for me, it just signals a little bit of maybe a loss of concentration there. If you're going to just play with your back to that window and lose it to a man on a rappel, you're really asking for trouble.
It just can't be done, man. It's so rough that Fury have even got into this position. It's crazy as well, because it's such a drop-off compared to what we saw coming out on the opening day between Lender and Novice. For now, it feels like for the most part, it's not even them really struggling. It's just they can't get into that style of play. They've been put into a box by W7M. They've then picked up the box. They put the box into the trash compactor, and it has been turned down into a very small box, but there's been a small resurgence into the round. A trade from either side, one on either of the two teams is going to be dropped down. We lose out on Fred, and Herds has also been picked off. That is a quality kill, though, because he's been a massive impact fragger. He's been ridiculous on the Ash, quite literally looking like the Phoenix with how he's been burning them up round after round. So putting him to bed at least gives Furia a bit more of a fighting chance. 4v4, play defensive, hold those angles, and build from this position. You've got about 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock here for W7M. Obviously, they have a buffer of 5 rounds to work with until this gets awkward, so they don't need to rush things. They can still take their time with this one and potentially salvage it.
The Ashiega mains are all that we have lost so far, and that is not a huge loss in terms of operator power throughout the round. Both entry operators and both expected to get in there and make those challenges. You don't mind losing them too much. So 4 versus 4 coming into the last 50 seconds. And for me, this is the first time it really feels that Furia have been able to frustrate W7M, if anything, whether that be on attack or defense. It's the first time they've really been able to disrupt them and prevent them doing exactly what they want to do. Now, we're going to have a nade coming in there, playing in towards that freezer door. I don't think it's going to connect with anybody, but it will clear out any utility that is there. The Banshee She will be taken down as well. But out come those Toxic Babe canisters to slow things down further. So we're now heading into the last 20 seconds, and W7M, they're going to have to start rushing. And when you rush, mistakes are made, and Lender takes full advantage. Novice steps up his dynamic duo, hits a nitro onto Panico, and leaves W7M panicking as Guy gets shut down, and Furia managed to get themselves another on the board. But at 6-2, there is still a long road ahead of them if they want to snatch a draw out of Oregon.
But it's the first step on that great expansive journey. It's not going to be a sprint. It is very much going to be a marathon. Tour de Oregon, 6-2 then. You get one round, you start to make some moves, you're starting to show there could be some energy left in the tank. Now absolutely floor it and give it your all. They have no room for error, no room to make a single mistake going into this. And if we have that possibility of one small mistake creeping up, that is it. It's good night. That'll be a 7-2 shutdown, and W7M will walk away with their first win of the day. Keep in mind, of course, this is just Oregon. It's a best of 2, so we go on to Coastline after this. But if they win on Oregon, who's to say that this isn't going to be a 2-0 day? And if that is a 2-0 pickup for W7M, that is a huge start to the season for them and an unfortunate one for Furia. Because at this point, they're quite close to beating their last season performance already, Tim. So if you go from that really high to a bit of a low point in the following play day, it might slow you down a little bit. But we won't get ahead of ourselves. We'll keep with the story at hand for now. Furia, of course, still on their defense here. They need to pick this up. You can't afford to have another big blunder against W7M into this round.
I don't think it's so much even about taking the loss on Oregon, Jackie. You know, even if it's a loss overall in the entire matchup, I don't think it's so much about that for Furia. It's more about the fashion in which they've done it. They came out looking so strong on Thursday. They excited me. I was absolutely bouncing on the balls of my feet, ready to watch them today. I couldn't wait to get into this match, and I'm hoping that they are still going to show us a little bit more than they have done so far. They've really struggled in the gunfights compared to Thursday, and I don't want to see that turn into a flash in the pan for them. And I think there is more that they will bring to the table. I think we are still going to see some good results for them, and teams certainly shouldn't come into games against Furia thinking that there is a guaranteed result there for them, because I really don't think that's going to be the case. But, you know, my big takeaway from this on Oregon so far is W7M. They are now the ones that are backing up that initial talking the talk and showing that they are certainly walking the walk so far in stage 2.
They're not only walking the walk, mate. They have got some massive boots on. Steel toe caps and all, Tim. You're not supposed to wear them outside the work site, but they certainly are. They are kicking Furia in the shins, and that hurts.
I can't even imagine, Jackie. Can't even imagine. They are certainly going for... Have you ever seen that the shin kicking world championship? It's like an actual thing.
I have not, but I want to now.
Get a look into it. It's a sport where, yeah, basically you kick each other's shins. That's the top and bottom of it. I can't describe it any more accurately than that for you.
Well, mate, he's lost his shins. He's lost more than that. Basically, the lower half of his body is gone, but his shin certainly went along with it. Hopefully, this isn't going to be the sweet chin music coming out from W7M to put Furia to bed, though, into the game, but it very well might be. Guy, on the Nomad, gets contact over towards Novice. Couple of bullets will riddle into him, and he will have to back off, leaving them in quite an awkward, a detrimental 4 versus 5. He's low, not a lot of sustainability left to work with, so he is going to go on the roam and look to see if he can make a play out of this. Sees the drone doing some Micro Machine-esque racing as it will bypass him, and he's now on the hunt, suspecting that potentially there was someone above him, clearing out these angles, but there's nothing to pay off yet.
Furia trying to switch things up a little bit and get a bit more of a heavy roam presence, but so far not really paying off, losing highs to begin with, and Novice certainly nearly following in the same direction. We can see Herds, he's looking to get himself right into sight here. Do they know he's coming? They absolutely do not. Fred is shut down on a complete blindside. 2 more kills will make 20 for Herds. And from that position, I tell you what, that is a real possibility. He gets sight of another man, takes a few shots at the pixels that he can see, but will be unfortunate just to miss the headshot there. Leaves us now in a 5 versus 3, and W7M, they are looking to close out map number 1 in quick fashion. Herds, he's look at the confidence of the man, just dashing into sight. Padrin's getting that diffuser down. Here comes the push. He gets another. That's 19 with a kill onto Lender. Can he make it around 20? Surely yes. He sees the Goyo, gets the shots. There's the 20 from Herds. He's shut down immediately after. He won't care. Gee gets the kill onto Novice. Perfect round in an almost perfect game for W7M. What a start to play day number 2.
That's sick. That is by all means a truly explosive performance from W7M. We were hyping them up coming into it. We said we were excited to see how they were going to play, but we thought it was going to be a battle of two titans between these two teams. Underdog upsetters, but in reality, it is only going to be Furia that is upset with this result. Herds is going to be ecstatic. 20 kills, 6